Hey guys, Marsingan here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so we saw the update in the news the other day, but we have a new stage of Extreme Super Battle Road coming to Global, and that is the Youth stage. Obviously this is tied in with the release of the new Path to Power physical Kid Goku. He's actually one of the available friend leads for this stage, so you can see even on JP the release of this stage was tied in to his release. So you fight a bunch of Dragon Ball Saga Earthling characters, 2 enemies, 3 enemies, 3 enemies. Extreme Super Battle Road. Youth is a more restricted category, so a lot of the time we find these ones that have the smaller categories are not as difficult, but there are a lot of very solid units on this team. So if you have your pick of the bunch, you can make a very powerful team. So as always with my team building guides, I'm going to go through my top picks and honourable mentions. If there are any units that you think I missed out or that I should have talked more about, do let me know down below in the comment section. And if you do find the guide helpful at all, do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. So going ahead and jumping straight in, we of course have the new Path to Power Goku. He is a youth leader. He also gives the extra 30% to Dragon Ball Seekers or Bond of Friendship. So, especially because of the Bond of Friendship part, there are a lot of youth characters on the category that will be getting the full 200% leader skill from this Goku. So, it's like I said right at the start, obviously the stage is being released in accordance with this guy coming out. So, if you do pull this guy, he will undoubtedly be the best leader for the team. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to his partners for his Unit Super, it is basically only the Youth Bulma that you would be able to bring to trigger it, but he doesn't really need his Unit Super attack to be good, right? The fact that he creates orbs can give the whole rotation damage reduction. I've talked about him a bunch in multiple videos already, so he is obviously going to be very good. Definitely the best leader. He also has his active skill, the Angry Kamehameha, which does damage. And it can be activated when HP is 59% or less without a turn restriction. So if you're going into the second or third fight at 59% or less HP, you can actually use his active skill straight away and start the fight off by doing a ton of damage. So he is hands down the best leader to use if you do summon and you do pull him. So next up I wanted to talk about this Int Kid Goku. So as it stands now on Global, he does not have his EZA yet. So he's a youth leader for 3 key and HP attack and defense 150%. He has a chance to stun on super attack, which is obviously very useful for Super Battle Road. He does have an active skill, which again, his condition is HP 59% or less, but no turn condition. So you can use that straight away in the second or third fight, or just straight away on turn 2 if you're in the first fight. So nice to do a little bit of extra damage, and the stun chance on super is pretty good. But what you could do, if you're not going to summon for Kid Goku, maybe you don't have the strongest roster of youth units, you could wait until later on in the celebration. It's probably going to be about a week, I think, and then he's going to get his EZA. So not only does he then become a full 170 lead, he's getting a bunch of extra defense, his stun chance increases, his active skill condition stays the same. Obviously he will just be way better. So if your team is a bit on the weaker side, and you'd have to rely on this guy as the leader, it's probably still doable with items anyway before his EZA, right? But you could wait for his EZA to come out and then use him on the team. So we also have the Int Gotenks, who has a youth category lead, 3 key, HP and attack 170, defense 130. So obviously defensively a bit weaker than the other leaders. But this guy can be really good in Super Battle Road. He's not very good on turn 1, just very basic bare bones kit. But once you get onto his next turn and he transforms into Super Saiyan Gotenks, not only does he have built-in chance to additional, so he could potentially get up to 3 super attacks in one turn, but he greatly raises his defense with each super, and then each of those supers has a 70% chance to stun the enemy. So he is very good. There are a lot of good stunning characters on youth. So if you get the good RNG, you could essentially just keep the enemy team completely locked down and unable to do anything. And the fact that he's greatly raising defense on each super means that even if you don't stun, or if he's being attacked by multiple enemies, his defense can be pretty good. Super Battle Road fights won't normally last long enough for him to be able to use his transformation to Super Saiyan 3, but if you do end up getting it, it's pretty much just going to be like the finishing blow to the fight, right? So next up we have the free-to-play LR, who's also been available through Battlefield, that has the Easy A, which is the Kid Bulma and Kid Goku. They are a youth lead, 4 key, but only 130 stats. These guys obviously being one of the last resort leads. But if you build their team largely based around youth and Dragon Ball Saga allies, they do get a lot of buffs. They get extra chance to additional super when there's a Kid Goku in the same turn. We've already talked about 2 of those that could be very useful. So this unit could be pretty good free-to-play option. Obviously it does require you beating a certain amount of the Super Battle Road stages and then the extreme ones to get the medals to Easy A them, but they could be a solid free-to-play choice. We also have the LRB Pan. So LRB Pan can be pretty good in Super Battle Road as well. She has the chance to stun on both of her super attacks, and she heals based on the damage that she does, which obviously can be very, very effective. She's not always got the best defense, but another reason why that physical Kid Goku is so good is he can be providing damage reduction to the entire rotation. And then she has the active skill that gives everybody a nice buff and can be activated from the 3rd turn. So since Super Battle Road fights usually are 3 to 4 turns, maybe 5 if they're getting to their longest, you're going to be able to use this fairly consistently and then finish off the fights. She's going to give you a ton of healing, potentially get a bunch of stuns. So just overall very, very solid unit for this team to provide a good bit of utility. Next up we have this physical Kid Gohan. He's another unit that is a Super Battle Road reward with an Easy A. He's from the original stages though, so at this point, unless you have a very new account, you should probably have this guy. He has a medium chance to stun on his 12 key super, so you could deliberately go for the 12 key to try and get the stun. Now the only downside is he is a lot weaker if you don't have a Goku on the same turn, and it doesn't include Kid Gokus, because that gives him 58% damage reduction, which actually makes him very, very good for Extreme Super Battle Road. So without that, he could be a bit of a liability. I probably would say he's an honourable mention at best. I definitely wouldn't be bringing him on my team. You could use him as a last resort for a lead as well, because he has an all types leader skill, if you really are missing any of the other units we talked about so far that do have a youth leader skill. So you could use this guy as a stand-in, but without a Goku, he's not going to be at his best. You probably just want to be floating him off and trying to get the 12 key to get some stuns, but definitely not a top pick for the team. So next up we have the AGL Super Saiyan Goku Jr. and Super Saiyan Vegeta Jr. They don't have a leader skill for the category, but they can be pretty solid. They build up defense the more they attack. They get extra key with Rainbow Orbs. They also support GT Heroes and World Tournament allies. There are some youth characters, of course, crossing over both of these. We'll talk about a couple of them. We already talked about B-Pan, so that can be pretty useful. They get an additional attack that has a medium chance to become a super with 5 orbs, and then they launch an additional attack that has a medium chance of becoming a super attack when there is a Goku family or Vegeta family enemy. So this stage has... yeah, Grandpa Gohan is on Goku family. But then, yeah, that's going to be it, essentially. So they could get that extra super in that first fight. But they could be pretty solid. Another good free-to-play option for the team. Next up, we have the AGL Kid Gohan. He's probably one of the top picks for like the summonable TURs, because we've talked about a lot of LRs already. But this guy infinitely stacks defense. He has a medium chance to stun on super. And then one of the things that makes him so great is not only is he providing 3 key and 58% defensive support to all allies, but he also has an active skill that recovers 30% HP, he gets guard for the turn, and it raises all allies' defense by 20% for 2 turns, and you can use this when HP is 58% or less with no turn restrictions. So yeah, again, if you're going into the second or third fight and you've already lost a decent chunk of HP, you can use his active skill straight away to heal, give everyone else a buff, give him guard, And yeah, like I say, he can stun on super, so he is a really, really valuable unit. Probably a top pick for the team if you have him after you've selected your leader. I definitely will be using him for mine, so definitely a top pick for the team, this AGL Kid Gohan. Next up we have Bulla, who got her Easy A little while ago. I say a little while ago, I guess it was October, right? So pretty decent time ago now. She has built-in dodge that she kind of relies on for her defense isn't terrible, but it's really not great. So she kind of is relying on her dodge a little bit. She's not going to get her extra key and crit chance because it's not going to be a Vegeta on the team, since it discludes all of the kid ones anyway. But she is providing 3 key and 40% attack to all the allies, so she is going to enable everyone else to hit harder, which can be very useful, especially in conjunction with units like B-Pan, who's healing you based on the damage that she does. They're going to share a few links, including things like GT, so definitely a worthwhile support unit for this team. Next up we have the duo here. I brought them both up, the AGL Goten and the Physical Trunks. They have their Easy A's. They're both still fairly solid. The reason why I've obviously put them both here and going over both of them together is they're at their best when you have the other one on the team as well. Well, it's essentially attacking in the same turn. They get extra attack and defense, they get damage reduction. It's damage reduction, and they're giving all allies attack and defense. Obviously, they are getting that as well. So if you have them both on the same turn and they're both activating that, they both have damage reduction, and they're giving all allies 36% attack and defense. So pretty solid rotation. The only downside for Extreme Super Battle Road is whilst their defense is pretty good, like neither of them are going to be tanking slot 1 supers very well. So if you're someone who doesn't care about using items, this rotation definitely can be very strong. So next up, I think we have a couple of Gotenks units to talk about. So the first one I highlighted here is the Super Saiyan 3, the physical one. Obviously the tech one's super outdated now. Physical one is a little bit outdated, but he does, I say a little bit, probably more than that, but he does have built-in dodge. Now it's only 30%, but obviously that can come in clutch. You can essentially just take 0 damage with him if you get the good RNG. And then he has the various different super attacks ranging from 9 key all the way up to 12. So even if you can't get a lot of key with him, you can still actually get a super attack. So he definitely can be worthwhile. Probably more of an honourable mention as he has started to age now, but he can be quite useful. Now this guy, really, really good. The AGL Super Saiyan Gotenks. He has an AoE super that has a medium chance to stun all enemies. And then he has a additional attack that has a high chance to become a super when there are 2 or more enemies. So with the hidden potential as well, even at 55% being AGL, he could super attack 3 times in 1 turn. This guy could literally be the difference between you just winning the fight very easily or not. Because if you get him on the first rotation and then he stuns all the enemies, then that gives you a huge advantage, because not only do you not take any more damage for the rest of the turn, but then you have the whole of the next turn where you can just focus down on one enemy, get rid of them, potentially deal some like overflow damage to somebody else. So this guy, super, super good. He is another unit that I would consider to be a top pick for the team if you have him. Another one who's very similar is the Int Gotenks and Ghost. A little bit old now, but still very good for Super Battle Road specifically. He greatly raises defense on Super, has a high chance to stun. He creates rainbow orbs. He's a nuking style unit. He gets 7% attack and defense per orb obtained. He also recovers essentially 10,000 HP and gets an extra 30% attack and defense per rainbow orb you obtain. So if he changes orbs and you're picking up like 4 rainbow orbs, not only is he getting a huge buff, but that's quite a lot of healing as well. And then yeah, he has a high chance to stun, greatly raises defense on super, so full additional would have been the way to go to build him. And he is another very, very solid free-to-play option for this team. And then next up we have the Great Saiyaman 4, the free-to-play Heroes unit, got his Easy A with the most recent Hero Celebration at the end of last year. So he is providing youth allies attack 30%. He also gives super class allies 2 key and 30% defense. So he's giving that to everyone on the team, but because we're making a youth team for a youth only stage, everyone's going to be getting the full buff, right? So 2 key, 30% attack, 30% defense. He builds up defense with each super attack. he has built-in chance to crit the more he supers, and he has a built-in high chance to launch an additional. So you can get 3 super attacks with him in one turn. He's obviously building up his defense, so he definitely can be a solid support unit choice for the team as well. Next up we have the Int Kid Pan. Now for this team, obviously there's not a lot of superheroes allies. There are some bond of parent and child allies, but she's basically going to be on the team for the fact that she has the built-in dodge chance, and then of course she has a chance to additional when you're facing multiple enemies, and she has a high chance to stun on super. So she's one of the units that you're essentially bringing to get stuns, to potentially dodge any attacks that come her way. She's not going to be providing support, a lot of support to the specific units for this team build, but she can be very good, right? If RNG's on your side, you can just take no damage, get a bunch of stuns, and she can be very useful. And I thought I'd highlight the Xenopan for the same reason. She has the high chance to stun, she has a built-in chance to crit. Each time she dodges, she gets extra defense. However, she's going to be missing out on some stat buff because there's no other Dragon Ball Heroes allies, unless you bring the Great Saiyaman 4, I guess. So yeah, she's again just the exact same boat as this Int Pan, where she's just going to be there to dodge attacks and then get stuns. So she certainly can be very useful on the team as well. So there you go. Those are the ones I picked for my top picks and honourable mentions. I guess I didn't mention any of the LR Gohans because Globals doesn't have the Easy A for the AGL one yet, and he's more suited to longer form events than he is for Super Battle Road. I guess the Int one with his Easy A, whilst it's a bit outdated now, he can be pretty good. And this Gohan's a pretty decent free-to-play option as well. So not a huge amount of units on the category to begin with, but there certainly are some solid options in here. I just did a showcase for this Gotenks as well that got his Awakening. So if you're running a bunch of the other Gotenks units, he could be quite useful on the team as well. So, like I said at the beginning, if there's any units I missed out or that you think I should have talked more about because they would be useful here in this stage, let us know down below in the comment section and let me know what your team build is going to look like for this stage. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.